episode 8 previously on WandaVision. Oh boy. Oh boy. You know how, like, throughout the whole journey of WandaVision, people were coming up with all these theories and all this intrigue and Marvel's gonna do this and we're gonna connect this and Pietro's from a different you know it takes me back to that horrible Return of the Jedi movie. You know, the opening scene where Rey walks up to Luke Skywalker and, she passes him the lightsaber. Just think of the lightsaber as all the fan theories, all the fan hopes and dreams, all the stuff that the fans wish and thought and desperately wanted to happen during WandaVision. You take that lightsaber, you hand it to Luke Skywalker, who represents Marvel and Disney, and what do? They take all your fan theories, they take all your hopes and dreams, they take all your X-Men shared universe theories, and they chuck that bad boy right over the side. So this episode starts with Agatha. I guess we could stop calling her Agnes now, because in the last episode, she she revealed herself as Agatha Harkness, because it was Agatha all along. It takes us back to, I guess it's like the 1800s, whatever. The realm of witch women. They strung her up on a pike not because, like back in the day when they're just like, oh, you're a witch, we must burn you at the stake. And it's like, it wasn't a situation like that. It was more like, you are a witch. We're all witches too, and you've abused the magical power. And she was just like, no, mother. She's like, I've abused nothing. And then she was like, stop with your lies, child. And she was like, fine. She's like, I didn't abuse the power. The power just, accepted me for who I am. So then, like, the realm of witches tried to destroy her with their magical blasts, and it didn't work. And, actually she absorbed the power. She fired it back at them, and she killed all the witches, including the head witch, which happened to be her mother. So that's how, that's how she got the power, because she was dabbling in the dark arts. So now it takes us back to present time, where her and Wanda are in the basement. So Agatha's whole thing is she's a witch, and she's a legit witch. She has legitimate witch powers. Wanda intrigues her because she's like, you created this whole Westfield thing, you brought Vision back to life, you're out here making children, but you don't know the simple basics of being a witch. Whereas, like, Wanda tried to use her power when she was in Agatha's basement, and Agatha was just like, we're in the spirit realm, and I have these pillars and these symbols, and only a person who creates this chamber is allowed to use their magic within this chamber. She was just like, that's magic 101. How do you not know that? So Agatha's whole thing is like, who are you? Like, she dead ass said to her, she was like, who are you? The one was like, who are you? And she was like, who are you? And then she made a joke. She was just like, first of all, do you have the accent or do you not have the accent? Because she's like, your accent, it comes and it goes. And I feel like at this point, there's no reason. There's, like, based on what Marvel's done with WandaVision so far, I feel like the whole thing with her accent is just a running joke at this point. There's no actual reason why her accent comes and it goes. It's just, like I said, they just make a running joke out of it. So basically, Agatha's whole thing is she's a witch, and she wants to know why Wanda can do all these things that she can't if Wanda's not actually a witch. So she told her, she was just like, listen, so she's like, we're going to go down the line, dear. She's like, we're going to go down the line to your past, to your history. So she's like, so I can learn how you became who you are. And then she's like, and if you don't do it, I'll kill your children. And then they brought up the Pietro thing, and then she was just like, she was like, she was just like, I'm the one who, she was just like, she was like, I've been trying to figure you out this whole time. I've been in Westfield, just like biding my time, trying to study you and trying to learn you. And she was like, I almost got answers with the Pietro thing. And she was like, that was you who created Pietro. And then she was just like, she's like, yeah. She was like, not really. She actually said, see, I actually laughed when she said this. She said it wasn't, first of all, she said she couldn't bring back the real Pietro because he's on a different continent and he's shot full of holes. She said that she just manifested some random person, and it wasn't even like, it's not a real person. She just created, she basically just like, just like created like a shadow person or whatever that she can look at. She used X-Men Pietro to see through his eyes and to talk through his mouth. It's not a real person. So Ain't no Pietro, ain't no multiverse, ain't nobody coming from a different universe over dropping it. Like, no, there's none of that. She basically just created some random dude with gray hair, and she used that empty vessel to speak and see through him to communicate with Wanda. But she even said, and when she said this, I feel like she was talking to the fans. She was just like, you so desperately were searching for answers when you knew it wasn't Pietro and you wanted to believe it. And I was like, aha. So they go through the history. They start back when they're in Zakovia, and they're she's at home. They show her, they show Pietro, they show her parents. Everybody in that family got black hair. That whole damn family got jet black hair. Wanda as a child had jet black hair. She got red hair now. And aside from hair dye, no one ever explained why she had black hair as a child and why she got red hair now. Because they're trying to make it seem like she's a natural redhead. They never, but the girl clearly had black hair when she was a kid. So anyway, so the whole WandaVision thing started to make more sense because now, when Wanda was a kid, just so her and her family could learn English, they watched old TV sitcoms like Dick Van Dyke. They watched the Andy Griffin Show. They watched Bewitched. They watched I Love Lucy. So Wanda loved those shows as a kid. Again, that's how she learned English. So they're watching The Memory when they were all in the house watching TV, and then the house got exploded because that's when the Stark missiles hit. Because remember, she got beef. That was the whole thing in Age of Ultron. They had beef with Stark Technologies because Stark, there was like Stark Technologies, like they blew up our town, and killed my parents. So after the house blew up, Wanda and Pietro as children, they were both like under the rubble. They survived, but their parents died. So Agnes's whole thing was, she was just like, first of all, a missile blew up your entire house. You and your brother magically survived. Nothing happened to y'all. And you were stuck under that house for 2 days, no food, no water. And you guys are just perfectly fine. She's like, that don't make no sense, but let's move on. So then they went to the next memory, which was when she volunteered with Von Strucker, who had Loki's scepter in his possession, so they was like, oh, this is when you signed up to do the Von Strucker experiments for Hydra. And then she was just like, yes, Pietro, and I wanted to save the world. And then she was just like, bitch, that was not a good idea. So they, and that was the Tesseract. No, not the Tesseract, because Loki had, I forgot the stone. Loki had the Mind Stone. So, yeah, it was the Mind Stone. So Loki had the Mind Stone in his scepter. They used the scepter. Wanda got close to it. It like pumped her full of power, and then she passed out and like hit the floor. Strucker and them was trying to figure out like, oh, like she's the only one who survived the experiment and no one else survived. But I'm just like, but didn't Pedro survive the experiment? Because Pedro had super speed. They never brought Pedro up, which was weird to me. So, but they were just like, oh, this Wanda child is special or whatever. We have to figure out, like where the power comes from. And then she was just like, okay. So she was just like, all this family drama, all this trauma. She's like, you lost all these people, and we're kind of getting somewhere now because maybe like the Mind Stone has something to do with where your power came from. So then the next memory was, this is after Age of Ultron. She's at Avengers. She's at the compound, the Avengers compound. She's sitting in a room. She's still watching the old TV shows, watching the old TV series. Vision comes floating in the room, and he's just like, Wanda, dear. He was just like, how are you dealing with your grief? And then she's like, I'm not Vision. She's like, I'm not dealing with my grief at all. And then he's just like, oh, but grief is a form of love, and you must learn to live on and move past it and blah, blah, blah. So, and that's when the two of them kind of like started falling for each other. And Agnes was just like, okay, so you lost your parents, you lost your brother, you lost Vision. She, you had an interact with the Mind Stone. She was just like, yo, girl, like, what's really good? But she was just like, because Vision wasn't there to reel you back in. She was like, when did you go off the deep end? So now we go to the next memory, which is her going into Sword, and then she walks up to Sword, and this is after Endgame. She walks into Sword, and then she goes into the to the Hayward. She goes into Hayward's office, and she's like, yo, I want Vision's body so I can bury him. He was just like, well, come with me. He showed her. He was like, look, down here, we're doing experiments on Vision because we're trying to learn like how he works. So we're trying to like, study him. This is like $2 billion worth of vibranium like in his body. And then Wanda was like, I just want his body so I can bury him. And he's like, bitch, I'm not letting you bury $2 billion worth of vibranium. He was just like, but you can go down there and you can say goodbye to him. So then, but when she saw that they were like cutting him open and picking him apart and like pulling him apart, she got mad and like bust through the glass. And then she landed to the table where he was. Now, this is interesting because in previous episodes, when Hayward tried to justify Wanda being a threat, and he told Monica like, oh, this is her busting into our facility to steal Vision's body. That was a lie. She did not bust into the facility to steal Vision's body. She broke the glass so she can go like see Vision face to face, so she can touch him to see if she can feel his presence within within his damaged body. And she said she touched him and she was like, yo, I can't feel anything. I can't, I can't feel you, I can't feel you anymore. And then she accepted the fact that she was gone and she left. Hayward lied and told everybody she busted in to try to steal Vision's body. So now everybody thinks that's actually Vision. That's Vision's actual body that's inside the bubble, that's inside the hex. That's not. That's just some random, that well, we'll get to that in a second. But Vision's actual body was still in Hayward's possession. He just lied and didn't tell Monica that. So then, Wanda, she leaves, she gets in her car. There was like a letter there that was, I guess it was from Vision or whatever. It was a random address in New Jersey. She goes down to Westfield. She goes to some random property plot. And when she opened the letter, I guess it was from Vision. It had a heart on it with that property that said, this will be our new home away from home. This will be our escape. This is where we can grow old together or whatever. So I guess Vision bought a plot of land and intended for her and Wanda to actually build a house and live there and just live a normal life and be happy. So that actually broke. At that point, she got real emotional. That emotionally broke her. She went crazy. Her power like magnified, and then that's how she created the bubble. She turned everybody into the sitcom thing. She turned Westfield, black and white. She created the house. The house that she lives in isn't even real. She created the house, and then she manifested Vision, with her power. So the Vision that we've been seeing this whole time, it's not real. It's not real Vision. It's just a memory. It's just a memory of Vision that she created. The kids aren't real either. She magically created the children, and then that's how she got, her, like her happy ending. So there's no bigger power. Nobody was mind controlling her. And I mean, I'll take an L for that one, because there was a part of me that also said at one point, I felt that she was being mind controlled, but that's because I believed Hayward when he said she broke into the facility to steal his body. I was like, she wouldn't just break into the facility to steal his body. Somebody had to be controlling her. But then, that turns out to be a lie. But I did say this, like when we first started doing WandaVision, go back to, it was either my first review or my second review. I said, there is no bigger plot. There is no bigger issue. There is no bigger situation. I said, Wanda created this whole thing on her own due to her emotional grief over losing Vision. I did say that. So I get credit for that one. There's no bigger power. There's no extra entity. Like there's no devious thing. Even with Agnes, like there's no Mephisto thing that, that popped up. Agnes's whole thing is, I'm a witch. I got powers. Why you got powers? I want to know why you got powers. That's it. I'm saying, like, that's it. She just wanted to know why Wanda had power, why Wanda had power that was bigger than hers. Wanda's whole thing was there was no grand scheme plan. Wanda just created Westfield because she was emotionally damaged. She's upset. She's hurt. So then after that, she realizes that she was the one that created it, that created the whole thing. She's the one that created the bubble. Agnes gave her an applause for, for taking her down memory lane. And then Wanda runs outside to go see her children. Agnes had her children at magic gunpoint. And then, but the kids ain't real. I mean, but they're real to her. So like the kids are real to, to Wanda. So I let that slide. But, she was just like, oh, but then, then in the end, Agatha got the full witch garb on now. And she's just like, oh, she knows what she's like. I know what you are now. She's like, you're a mythical creature. She was like, I thought you were just like a myth or a legend or whatever, something that wasn't real. She was like, you're an entity that can create. She's like, you can create things, with your sheer will. Like you have the power to manifest things to reality. And she was like, you were wasting that power making breakfast for dinner. So, which is why, but she was just like, like the old fairy tales, the old stories, that's chaos magic. Chaos magic is what has the power to manifest things into reality. And if you have chaos magic within you that allows you to manifest things into reality, then you're what legend calls the Scarlet Witch. Like that was like when she said, I rolled my eyes. I rolled my damn eyes. But now she's the Scarlet Witch. She's not a mutant. She doesn't have magic. All you people that was like, oh, her powers are science-based. No. Apparently she's a witch that comes from old school legend. And Wanda has the power of this old school legendary witch, which has chaos magic, which gives you the magic to manifest things into reality, which is why Monica now has powers, because Wanda created the bubble. The bubble is made from chaos magic. Monica went through the bubble 3 times, which is why, and her going through the bubble 3 times, because that energy has the power to manifest things into reality. that's, it manifested power for her. That's why she has powers now, because she sucked up all that chaos like Monica has chaos magic in her now thanks to Wanda. And even in last week's end credit scene, when Monica was about to go into the basement and then Pietro ran up on her, that was Agatha. That was Agatha using her Pietro shell to see, as like eyes and ears. So she's probably got Monica trapped in the basement too somewhere. So they said that was basically it. She was just like, oh, you're the Scarlet Witch, but now that she knows she's the Scarlet Witch, all right, Agnes, what's the plan? You know what I'm saying? Because your whole motivation at this point, you just wanted to know who she was. Now you know who she is. What's the plan now? Are you gonna try to siphon her power? Are you gonna suck her dry? Are you gonna try to kill her? Like, are you gonna try to get her to team up with you? Like, what's the deal with that? So I guess we'll obviously find out next week. Because I think next week's the last episode, thank God. And then the final end credit scene. It showed Hayward again, because since Hayward still has Vision's actual body, he even said, he was like, yo, we must have taken him apart and put him together 50 million times. And we were trying to get him to turn on. We were trying to find out how we can get him to turn back on. Come to find out, all we needed was just a taste of the original energy to infuse into him to bring back to life. So Hayward is siphoning the bubble energy and infusing it into Vision to bring Vision back to life, because that bubble energy is Wanda's chaos magic, her Scarlet Witch magic, and it's also infused with the Mind Stone, which she got blasted with when she was in captivity at Hydra. So the Mind Stone mixed with her, with her chaos power. Like I said, he was able to siphon it, pump it into Vision's body, and brought Vision back to life. Vision was white. I was told there was a white Vision in the comics, so now we got the white Vision. But again, keep in mind, everybody, the white Vision, that's the real Vision. The dude that's flying around with Darcy in the bubble, that's just the manifestation that Wanda created. So that was it. Let me know in the comments how pissed you are if one of the theories that you came up with ended up getting debunked. Let me know what you think's gonna happen now. Now that all the geek mumbo jumbo, because we're all geeks to an extent, but I'm talking about like the geeking out, overthinking, like, oh, it's a shared universe and the X-Men and Marvel and Fox are like, no, none of that's happening anymore. We're done with that. We're done with that. So ain't no X-Men. There are no mutants. So we just got Wanda's just some random witch with random witch chaos power. So let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about Monica's situation, how that ties in, and what do you think Hayward's gonna do now that he has the white Vision robot in his possession. And we'll talk about it. So again, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, because again, we do WandaVision, we're doing Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're doing Superman and Lois, Black Lightning, we're doing Batwoman. The Flash starts this Tuesday. So for all your superhero reviews, theories, questions, and recaps, check out my YouTube channel. Check me out on the Tacos and Geek podcast with Gotham Geek Girl Nadia, Justin, and Sean. We got a new episode coming up pretty soon. I will be posting clips for that, and then I'll post a link for the actual full-length audio for the podcast. So that's it, guys. Episode 8 in the books. Like I said, I think we got one more to go, and then we'll close the chapter on all this. So now, let's just enjoy the show and stop with the fan theories, because they obviously not giving y'all what y'all want. What they're giving us is a basic story about one witch hating another witch for being a witch. And there's gonna be some trouble, toil, and bubble coming up in the final episode. So that's it, guys. So for next week, for WandaVision, take care, and I'm out this.